Hello, my name is Clinton, and in under 2 weeks, I'm turning 50, and so it's a big day for me, and naturally that had me started to think about how I've changed over the years, things that I used to do when I was younger. And one of those things that I used to do when I was younger in school was a lot of writing, short stories and poetry mostly. But writing helped me to talk about things that were difficult to talk about and say things that I couldn't say normally. They also helped to deal with emotions that were difficult to deal with, an outlet event, I guess you could say. So I've written a poem today, the first, hopefully, of many to come in the near future, as I make plans to continue writing again. Um, so this one poem I've written today, it's called "The Last Reunion at the Ostrich Farm." Members of my mom's side of the family will know exactly what that is. And the poem is a free verse poem, so it doesn't rhyme. But keeping in mind that it's the first poem I've written in many, many years. So I thought I'd start with something a little bit easier. It's called "The Last Reunion at the Ostrich Farm," and it's essentially about family and how over years family can grow distant so that they become essentially strangers. So maybe some of you might be able to relate to this. I would appreciate comments, constructive criticism, particularly in the comments below. Let me know what you think, and if you can relate, I wouldn't mind hearing that too. So without further ado, my poem, "The Last Reunion at the Ostrich Farm." There was a boy once, stitched into a family that called itself whole, a father with a bottle for a compass, a mother with silence packed behind her teeth, an older sister polishing her reflection, and a younger brother sharpening his grudges. Cousins like background noise, aunts who smelled of powder and pretense, uncles loud enough to drown questions. Every summer they gathered at the ostrich farm, heat rising off the fields in wavering sheets, fences stretching thin across dry earth, birds towering and prehistoric, eyes wide as judgment. The boy loved the strange dignity of them, their refusal to shrink. They ran when they needed to run, and they stood when they needed to make a stand. He learned stillness there. He learned that watching is its own kind of power. His father drank under a roof, anger fermenting in his breath, and when he struck the table, the plates trembled like small animals. In the boy's eyes, the father saw himself, not mighty, not feared, but small and leaking, a man outrun by his own failures. His mother moved through rooms like fog, touching nothing for long. In his gaze, she saw her bitterness, how it crusted at the edges of every kindness. His sister practiced superiority like a speech in front of a mirror. Inside his reflection, she saw the crack in her confidence, the tremor beneath her lifted chin. His brother carried rage like a hidden blade. When their eyes met, he saw only his own envy flicker, green and hungry. The boy said nothing. He only looked, clear, unflinching, wide as an ostrich eye that misses nothing in the field. Years passed. He grew taller than the shouting, stronger than the slammed doors, and quieter than the insults meant to bruise. He became a man with the same unwavering gaze. At the last reunion, the sun burned without mercy. The father was drunk before noon. The mother complained of everything. The sister corrected everyone's stories, and the brother carried old fights in his pockets. The cousins circled, the aunts whispered, the uncles laughed too hard. Then the man lifted his eyes, and the farm went still. His father saw the violence naked, stripped of excuse. His mother saw the years she chose distance over protection. His sister saw her vanity balanced on fear. His brother saw vengeance, turning him hollow. No one could hold his gaze for long. "You think you're better?" someone muttered. But he had claimed nothing. He only reflected what stood before him, and one by one they drifted away, to cars, to cities, to houses filled with television light. And the man remained, carrying the architecture of them all behind his steady gaze. They live still, they breathe, they age, they celebrate holidays somewhere else, but to him they are ghosts, figures moving behind glass, transparent with denial, haunting the edges of memory. He lost his family not to death, not to miles, but to recognition. The ostriches continue their long, circling run, and the man stands steady in the field, carrying the weight of seeing, carrying the cost of being seen. Thanks for listening.